Hello, welcome to the closing event of my first ever exhibition, streaming live from aquabitArt Gallery in Berlin. My name is mkirch. The title of this show is Perspectives. Unfortunately, the gallery owner, Irina Ilieva, could not join us today due to the constraints of the lockdown. Originally, we had planned to open this exhibition to the public on December 17th. However, only a day before the planned opening, a lockdown was imposed in Germany, and that lockdown is still ongoing. So we created a series of virtual elements to complement the real-life exhibition, such as this live stream. I'm grateful to you all for joining me here today. The dialogue of my work with the public is an important part for my artistic journey. It has always been my intention, my desire, that perspective should be a safe space where viewers can experience their feelings with gentle curiosity. What exactly is a safe space? How do we create a safe space? Those are questions that have occupied me for a very long time. And they've taken on a new dimension in this pandemic. In a way, this virtual exhibition is an uber safe space, but I fear something important gets lost in that virtualization. For me, personally, that's a loss of sensuality, and that is a very big loss. For me, a desire for a more sensuous, creative experience or process was one of the key reasons why I decided to pursue this artistic journey and to set up my own studio where I could pursue this work 3 years ago. I've always worked creatively, as a mathematician, as a Wall Street strategist, as entrepreneur, as chief commercial officer. In each of these roles, I was quite creative in solving problems, creating mathematical constructs, writing computer programs, overcoming political barriers, creating new businesses. So, and much of that joy of solving analytical puzzles can also be found in my artwork, right? Like in Space Between, and especially in balancing acts, which you see in the background here. The balancing act turned out to be an almost endless fountain of puzzles to solve. So it's not creativity per se that turned me into this journey as an artist to create these works, but rather a desire to create, to explore my creativity in a different way, in a more sensuous direction. I had created a series of sculptures as a teenager, and I was curious, what would it be like to pick that up again? The first sculpture I created was Identity. I first carved the sculpture out of stone with hammer and chisel. It's quite heavy, weighs 35 pounds or so. So I carved this with hammer and chisel, and then I smoothed the inside here with sandpaper. And that in itself is a very beautiful, gradual, physical process. You can only take stone away, you can't put it back. And then, using techniques that have been around for like 3,000 years, I transformed this into a bronze version of that same sculpture using a molding technique. And this bronze very accurately reflects the exact structure and shape of the stone. Working with these very traditional, very physical processes, for me, was a very important part of that journey. not doing anything digitally. My two princesses, here we have Snow White, and here we have Sleeping Beauty over there, are also great examples of that very sensuous path. I first created Snow White, again by carving and sanding this piece manually out of alabaster, white alabaster. And now she is held here in her coffin of slate and put on a pedestal. And then Sleeping Beauty is again a bronze cast of that alabaster stone, and she is tied up by leather strings in her fortress of steel. Perhaps the most sensual objects that I created are these doodles here, which I created entirely by hand in wax. A very beautiful, simple, physical doodling, in where the original wax gets lost in the lost wax technique. So these are one-off originals. But more importantly, they're really meant to be picked up, to be held, to be handled, to be played with, to be exchanged from my hands into your hands. And this very intimate exchange, that's something that I very much miss in this virtualized exhibition. On the plus side, of course, I noticed that about half of the positive RSVPs to this closing event were based in the US, and it's really beautiful, of course, to have this opportunity to share with a much more global audience. And I hope you will all join me for the after party on Wonder in a moment.